What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Ben Thomas Show. Thanks for coming back. Today I've got a real quick video for you. It's the 4 preview images we've seen from the Dark Knight Trilogy from McFarlane Toys. Now, I am pretty stoked about these, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a huge Dark Knight fan. As you can see behind me, they're some of my favorite figures of all time in 6 scale, but in this scale for McFarlane, it's something to note. So, stick around if you guys like the video, hit the like button, smash the subscribe if you're new to the channel, and let's get into it. Okay, so welcome back. Today, of course, again, we've got the DC Multiverse McFarlane Toys figure lineup from the Dark Knight Trilogy. Now, this is a build and collect figure set, which means if you get the 4 figures I'm about to show you here, you ultimately can build a Bane at the end, which is very awesome. But of course, the image we're looking at right now is the Dark Knight on the screen from the Dark Knight film itself. Of course, this is that iconic scene right after Rachel dies, and I think the figure looks fantastic. I think they've done a great job with the photograph imagery here. It looks exactly like the scene, in my opinion, almost a screen grab. And for the scale and size of the McFarlane Toys figures, I think it looks fantastic. What do you think? Next, let's take a look at Harvey Dent Two-Face. Now, this actually I think is the best figure of all of the ones that we're about to show you. I love the tailoring on the outfit. I love the way the burning on the jacket looks. I love the way the sculpt looks with the half-melted face. It's fantastic. The likeness even to Aaron Eckhart is actually pretty good considering the scale. So this is one that will definitely come to my collection, but let's be honest. Honestly, all of these are going to come to my collection. I can't help it. I don't care that they're not 6 scale, which is my kind of primary focus. I love the Dark Knight, and anytime I can get my hands on one, I'm going to. Next, let's look at the Scarecrow. Now, I honestly think this figure also looks pretty awesome. The mask itself is definitely creepy, and I like that you can't really see the jointed shoulders, at least from the photograph. It hides really well. And so, for me, Scarecrow is definitely a staple when it comes to the film Trilogy. Cillian Murphy is a fantastic actor. Unfortunately, we don't get his head sculpt with this figure, but even still, having a Scarecrow representation in this scale with this figure lineup is a must-have. And this is one I don't have in the 6 scale collection behind me, so I'm excited. Now, of course, last but not least, before we get to the Build-A-Figure, is the Joker figure. Now, this was the one I was kind of waiting for to see to determine if I was going to buy the whole line or not. And it didn't help. I'm not going to lie. I don't love the figure as much as I wanted to. I'm a huge Heath Ledger Joker fan. I've got the in-art 6 scale figures coming. Obviously, it's extremely difficult to compare McFarlane Toys with 6 scale likeness. I get that. It's almost not fair. But I don't think this totally looks like Heath Ledger. It's certainly an artistic representation. So I'm okay with it, but I don't love it. Because we're not going to get a ton of weapons, I don't think. It's interesting to see what this may or may not come with. I hope it comes with a cool couple of accessories that we're not seeing, obviously, just from this preview image. But what are your thoughts on this particular figure? It's kind of lukewarm for me. I actually like the other 3 that we've seen so far more, which is surprising because the Joker is probably my favorite character of all time, especially Heath Ledger's representation. Now, like I mentioned at the beginning, if you get all 4 of those figures that we just looked at, you're able to build this figure out of them. And of course, we're looking at Bane from The Dark Knight Rises. Now, I like that with this trilogy lineup, they're not specifically targeting one film. It's called the Trilogy for a reason, because obviously Bane is the final bad guy from that film set. And I loved Bane. I loved Tom Hardy. I thought his representation of Bane was great. I know his voice wasn't a favorite for everybody, but I loved it, honestly. It always resonated with me. The Dark Knight Rises is still a movie I watched on repeat back in 2012, and obviously years later. Both The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises were films that I went and saw in theaters multiple times because they just resonated with me. Now again, if we're comparing this to some of the 6 scale options we're getting, this still looks a little bit more toyetic, a little bit more like a small scale figure, for sure. But the way that they photographed it looks beautiful. I love the sizing from what I can tell from the figure. I know that Tom Hardy is a bit of a smaller guy, and Christian Bale's a much bigger person than Tom Hardy, of course. But I'm hoping that this figure still has some scalable size to him. But it's definitely been a fun week for McFarlane, waiting for all these guys to get announced. I'm really excited about it. If you're interested in it, of course, you can get them through the official website, McFarlaneToys.com. Pre-orders launch on February 16th, so don't miss that if you're interested. This is not something that I'm going to be missing out on, so keep your eye out on those dates that are available for these figure releases. But I'd love to hear from you guys down in the comments below as well. If you're huge Dark Knight fans, are you going to pick these up? If you're my 6-scale friends out there and you don't necessarily collect this figure size, is this something that's still tempting you? Or you're kind of like, I could pass, I've got enough of a 6-scale representation. For me, this is going to sit on my desk, likely at work, but we'll see how it goes. Let's see if the boss lets me do that. But I'd love to hear from you guys down below in the comments. Thanks for watching and supporting the Ben Thomas Show. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers. If you guys like the video, hit the like button for me. Smash the subscribe if you're new to the channel, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks, everybody.